All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, look, as you guys pretty much know, I'm in full off-season mode. I just can't stop thinking about the future head coach, free agency, the draft, and whatnot. And I was taking a look at the Jets cap situation for not only just this season, but 2021, 22, etc. And there's one looming contract on the defensive side of the football that, quite frankly, it scares me. Right? It's humongous, all right? This is something that I can't wait to hear your opinion on down below in the comment section. It's regarding CJ Mosley. Now, Mosley, obviously a standout linebacker at Alabama, first-round pick to Baltimore. You know the story, multiple-time Pro Bowler. So he comes over to the New York Jets right after the 2018 season, right? He signs that monstrosity of a deal, 5 years, $85 million, $51 million guaranteed, right? So obviously that's big money, right? I don't know if Mosley's the highest paid linebacker, but looking at those numbers, he's definitely up there, probably top 3, I would say. Man, it's so much money. But anyway, you're looking at what CJ Mosley did in 2019, okay? He played in 2 games, 9 tackles, obviously not good. He got hurt in that first game against the Buffalo Bills, and he was dealing with a groin injury. He was dealing with a core injury. He came back later in the year, and then he got hurt in that game. I don't know if it was like a re-aggravation or what ended up happening, but it was just an injury-riddled season for CJ Mosley. It was just a lost year. And then 2020 rolls around, and he opts out, right? He opts out because of the virus, and look, we can't fault him for that, right? We can't really fault any player for doing it. We have to play this thing as safe as possible, especially if, these guys have families at home too. I mean, it's just, that would just be irresponsible to a certain degree. But I mean, man, you're looking at the CJ Mosley contract, 5 years, $85 million, 51 guaranteed originally. You're looking at the numbers moving forward. Is he going to be a part of this team? And look, I got to be 100% honest with you. Even though CJ Mosley was in Baltimore when Joe Douglas was in Baltimore, he very well could be a Douglas guy. I don't see it happening. I believe the Jets will cut CJ Mosley eventually. As crazy as that sounds, because Mosley is still one of the best linebackers in the league. But I mean, I'm looking at the situation as unbiasedly as possible. I mean, this is a dude who finished 2019 on IR, dealt with 2 significant injuries, groin and core. Only played in 2 games in 2019. Obviously did not play this year. I believe he's a $7.5 million cap hit for 2021, so not bad. But then in 2022, that's where it gets pretty, big. I think it jumps up to 17.5 million, $8 million guaranteed. So there's still quite a bit of money left on the deal. And for a rebuilding team, for a team that's picking number 1 overall, that really wants to get a new coaching staff in the building, that wants to bring in their own guys, right? Mike Maccagnan signed CJ Mosley. Okay, he was out there during that whole period, the Anthony Barr drama, all that kind of stuff. Maccagnan signed Mosley. All right, Maccagnan signed Le'Veon Bell. It wasn't Joe Douglas. And we saw what Douglas did to Le'Veon, right? He just up and released him midway through the season. That's a complete tank move. So my gut's telling me that the Jets, there's a very high possibility that New York could release him. Now, you could be looking at the numbers and saying, okay, $7.5 million for next year is not that bad, right? It's not that bad. But considering the entire roster, considering Joe Douglas is entering year 2, essentially, of his general manager career for the New York Jets, I feel like this is the season where he wants to start, right? He wants to start the foundation. Year 1 was tearing it down, right? Getting rid of the big contracts. Really, I don't want to say tank, but essentially that's what's happening here. But year 1 was the teardown. Year 2 is the build-up, all right? So I could see, again, Douglas releasing CJ Mosley, saving all the money, and using that money for, big positions of need. Because another thing that we have to note here, right, we have to take into consideration is that the defense isn't the problem. The defense isn't the reason why this team is losing games, right? The Jets lost Jamal Adams. We lost CJ Mosley, okay? Neville Hewitt has stepped into that inside linebacker position under Greg Williams, and he's done beautiful. I mean, he's done an admirable job, okay? I think he has over 90 tackles or something like that. He's started in 11 games, okay? I remember watching him back when he was over at, Marshall, back at Huntington, West Virginia. Dude was a monster, and then he went to, Miami, obviously, with Adam Gase. I really like what Neville Hewitt has done this season. It's been his best season of his career, all right? I think he's around the same age as CJ Mosley. So if you're looking at the long term, right, could Joe Douglas be thinking to himself, you know what? On one hand, I have CJ Mosley, right? Obviously a highly talented individual, a guy that has a ton of production throughout his career outside of the New York Jets, right? Back in Baltimore, a guy who's missed a lot of time, a guy who's finished the season on IR, a guy who's dealt with a groin injury and a core injury. Okay, we haven't really seen Mosley with the defense, and the defense isn't really the problem here. The defense is still out here producing. Do we want to keep paying this guy as a top 3, top 5 paid linebacker in the National Football League? Or, on the other hand, could we re-sign Neville Hewitt? Right, Neville Hewitt's on a 1-year, $2 million contract. And again, over 90 tackles in 11 games. Still have a couple of games left. I think we have 4 or 5 games left. What are we, 0-12? Yeah, so a nice chunk of games left. Hewitt can easily rack those up. I mean, he's the starting inside linebacker. Could Joe Douglas be looking at this thing, comparing apples to apples here and saying, you know what, we can use the money that Mosley's being paid and dish it out on the interior offensive line. Let's go attack, let's go sign a guy like Brandon Scherf. Let's go get a Joe Thuney, right, from New England. Maybe let's go sign Allen Robinson to a massive mega deal. Help out Trevor Lawrence, right? There's a lot of different areas where the Jets can, push their money to or dump their money to, right? Certain positions, maybe even running back again, but I highly, highly, highly doubt it. I would definitely look at interior O-line. I would look at corner, and I would look at wide receiver. Inside linebacker is not the reason why we're losing games. So I very well can see Douglas saying, you know what? Looking at everything, looking at the facts, looking at the money and saying, I kind of want Mosley's money to help sign free agents on the offensive side of the football here. We can make do with Neville Hewitt. This guy's out here having a career season. If he doesn't like Mosley and he doesn't like Hewitt, he still has the draft. Okay, he still has the draft and free agency. I mean, hey, he could part ways with Mosley and let Hewitt walk and then just sign a guy for half of Mosley's price. Who knows? He could maybe pull off a trade. Bottom line is this. Joe Douglas has a myriad of different routes that he can travel down to address this inside linebacker position moving forward. All right, he's not locked into one thing. He can easily go out and release Mosley. Yeah, it would suck, to deal with the dead money, the dead cap hits and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, all in all, JD could be saying to himself, Hewitt's producing. Hewitt has more than 90 tackles. We're paying him $2 million. We can easily sign this guy for a 2-year contract worth $8 million or something like that, easily. So I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you were JD, if you were running the New York Jets, would you part ways with CJ Mosley? Whether it's this offseason or the following offseason, right, heading into 2022 when his cap hit gets a lot bigger. So again, I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.